So there's been some more developments in the saga of my madness, and so I had the experience that I shared with getting rid of the darkness, and so it's an interesting thing that happened a while back when I first started. So in the early days of when I first started meditating, I suppose, I was going through some meditation, and it must have been about like acceptance or feelings or something like that, or accepting the presence or something, and for whatever it was, I mean, it got my mind into the place where just this overwhelming, the darkness just popped out, and just the sadness was just the realization of whatever the sadness was there. I just started crying and just said out loud that probably 2 or 3 times, I just want to be happy, and so then that's just this little burst that came out, and then it kind of went away, and I was like, oh. And then so I go back to meditating, and then in the course of that meditation, something happened, and I was able to come to something where I could turn on the feeling of happiness, at first, the first time I did it only lasted a few seconds, but it's just something. It's like there's a muscle or an electron you can fire or something. I don't even know how to explain it. It just kind of happened. But I was able to turn it on and just feel absolute exuberant joy and happiness and excitedness and just an energetic, feeling in your whole body, not just oh, I would this thing. It's like body's alive with the energy of this joy, and it was super brief. And from that point on, I could turn it on sometimes. If I was if I was driving, if I was in a real Zen state of mind where everything was real calm, and I could turn it on every now and then, just for a second. I could just kind of flip the switch, and then so then this thing happened. The thing happened with the darkness being released, and since then, I have discovered the ability to turn it on and keep it on for extended periods of time. I haven't really pushed the limits and tested it yet, but so I've kind of developed this kind of okay, well, here it is. My darkness is gone, so the only thing that makes sense to me is to try to spread positivity and good energy in the world in every form that I can. And so I developed this practice of driving around, or if I'm driving, or just anyway, anything that I'm doing, if I see somebody and my spidey sense registers some level of sadness or grief or anything like that, I turn it on, I build it up, and it fills up. It's one of those feeling experiences where and it gets to its highest vibration. It feels that I can get it to anyway, and then I just kind of ideologically release it toward that person, and I just think of it as just shooting love darts at people, just giving them super good vibes, just to something, just whatever. I mean, I believe that the energy is the life and the magic of this world that we live in, or this reality, whatever you want to call it. So anyway, so that's kind of just been doing that for a couple of weeks, and it's yeah, everything's great. Work's great. I love my job, and I love my wife, and I love my life, and just everything's I feel like I've got a good perspective of things, and just I'm shooting love darts whenever it comes into my senses to do so, and things are going pretty good. And then my buddy comes over. I have my buddy come over, and he's like, "Hey, you want to smoke?" It's like, "Yeah, sure." So take 4, 5, 6 really good hits off a really good blunt of really good weed, and so then we're just kind of hanging out, talking. And he's talking about how he gets these really good deals on this stuff, and there's this place that he goes to that has all these sales all the time, and they're selling stuff so cheap that there's no way you're absolutely losing money. And he was kind of puzzling on how is it that they can do that, and then for whatever reason that triggered my mind into just thinking about the bigger picture of the whole global economy. How is it that everything's so cheap? How is it that they can throw so much stuff away and still make trillions and millions and billions of dollars, and that Walmart can endlessly exchange, and they can have trillions of dollars of theft, but they're still absolutely rich, and so just that's the thought process, the questions that my brain started asking. And so I guess to take a step back, even to maybe tie some threads together, I'm distinctly aware of when I was able to turn that happiness thing on, that in absolute pure raw emotion, I spoke into the universe that I want to be happy. All I want is just to be happy. And then in the process of that meditation, without me making a logical decision, somehow the ability to turn that on just came to me. That's very important to the story. And then so kind of coming back. So here we are just thinking, so again, I have this crazy idea that everything that I say and everything that I think is a prayer, that like I've come to this place where I am in constant communication with the universe, with source, with God, with whatever is behind what's happening to me. That like, I fully believe that. I fully believe that every energy that is released has power in it. And so I just begin pondering that, like, how is it that how is it just a deep stone philosophical inquiry, as honest an inquiry as you can get, just even without saying it out loud, just in the depths of my mind, like, how is it that is possible? Like, that is nuts. Like, the way this machine works, like, how is it possible that they're able to make money like this? And then, like, it's just as soon as I presented that question to the universe, just a download, just boom, just a flash. And just in a flash, all the connections of all the things that I've come across and this, that, and the other, and just an absolute crystal clear picture of how this post-1900 world was built. And it started well before that, but just like it really, really started once World War I type of stuff, that kind of era. But I mean, I guess the development of what's going on here. Anyway, that's not the point right now. So anyway, just flash, and much to my social discredit, I'm not going to get into any details about what I saw, but what I'll say is that everything Alex Jones has ever said about the crazy, evil, wicked shit the government is doing, it's all true and way, way worse. Way fucking worse. And the reality of that hit me so hard that it just sent me into paranoid psychosis. Like, I was sure, I was just entertaining, like, that the government's listening to me outside here, or just because I'm receiving these things, they're probably watching me or something. I don't know. So I go and I close my window. I just real calm, like, I just go and close my windows, and I come and I sit in this very drum throne that I'm on right now, and I say to him, I say, I'm going to say something to you, and I need you to tell me I'm crazy. And then he says, okay. So then I just tell him some rendition of slavery and trafficking and rituals and this, that, and the other, and feeding us things to keep us distracted, and to this, that, and the other, and then he just kind of looks at me and is just like, yeah, we should probably just try to live, like, try to be happy, just like, try to make the best of your life. And it was interesting because, like, just when he said that, it actually reinvigorated the hope within me, or whatever, I don't know, like, whatever you want to call it. Like, it reminded me of the thing that I received, that everything's all right all the time, that no matter how bad it looks, because of what you don't understand about what's going on, everything is working exactly the way that it's supposed to. This machine is flawless. It's flawless. And that's the whole point. But anyway, so he tells me that. He says, just enjoy your life. And then it just reminded me, I was like, oh yeah. But then, like, it was really heavy on me, and so we're talking, and he's talking. I think it was mostly him talking. I would kind of interact a little bit here and there, and then at some point, I was so deep in the severity of the situation in my mind that I was like, hey man, like, I'm not gonna be much good for conversation anymore. I mean, I think I'm probably ready for bed. So he left, and I wasn't ready for bed. I was ready to sink into this experience. So he leaves. I sit basically right where I am, and it's just like, kind of just start letting go, and then, like, it's just this heaviness was just pulling me down, and like so that's all it was just the heaviness pulling me down. And so just it's like, okay, well, if nothing's happened, just whatever, just following. I'm learning to follow the energy. Follow the energy, but be mindful, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, so there seems to be a draw downward. So I trust the energy. I trust what's going on. So I'm gonna go wherever the draw is. So the draw is going down. So I go and I lay on the floor. And as soon as I'm on the floor, just the reality, all the reality of everything is just, and I'm just freaking out. Like I'm in that convulsive state again, like where it's just, and Heather even said that like she woke up to the whole house vibrating, just like super frantic, like just really fast. And so I'm just laying on the floor, just absorbing the experience and convulsing and freaking out and on the edge of insanity once again, just absolute internal breakdown. What is going on? Why? Yada yada yada. And then the understanding, the voice comes and says, the reason you've gone through all of this. And it doesn't say just this is the understanding. Just this whole understanding just popped. Like there's not a voice saying, hey, blah, blah, blah. Like just understandings, just absolute ironclad. This is what's going on. And just like full huge understandings just drop into my head. Like I don't think through it and rationalize. But so just the understanding comes into my head, just drops into my head right then and there, that the reason you've gone through all of this is to prepare you for this. The whole reason that you've gone through this healing is so that you can receive this and not freak out and do something about it. But you can't change it. You can't change it. You can't do anything about that. That is what it is. The game is what it is, and there's nothing you can do about it. You know all the rules. Go play the game. And I'm just like, oh shit. Fuck. And so I'm just like, I'm just laying on the floor. So finally I just forced myself up off the floor, and I'm just sitting there. And I was trying to, I started going off on a little spiritual journey. Like I could feel that pull going that direction. And it was almost like this invite for an escape, that you can get away from this. You can just go over here. And something inside me said, no, this is not the time to go to magical spirit land. This is the time to be very, very present with this situation. So forced myself up, and I'm just kind of sitting there, and the draw and the drag is there. So anyway, just this whole fear and whatever. So and anyway, I get up and I go, and I finally am able to get myself up and moving. It's literally like there's magnets in the ground just drawing me, and it takes every bit of strength that I have to do that, to get up and to move, and so I make it into the bedroom. Then I start feeling like I need to use the bathroom or something. So I go into the bathroom, and as soon as I open the bathroom door, I just puke. Like I made it to the toilet, but I just puked my guts. I just puke. Like it seemed like I puked more than I ate, because I've been doing this fasting thing, but anyway, like just puked, and it's the second time that's happened to me, and it's the second time that when it was done, I just knew that was the physical representation of a bunch of baggage coming out. And so I finish puking, clean up, go to bed. I wake up the next day, tell my wife about it, and then just, okay, like, you know the game. You know what's going on. You've been told. What are we doing? So I just start analyzing reality that's in front of me. Like, just like, what's going on? Like, what can I do with what I've got in front of me? And like a combination with that, just I'm quite fond of, as much as social media is toxic in a lot of ways, like the algorithm's magical because it shows you what you want. So like when I'm looking through my reels, all I see is other stories of other people having similar experiences to this, and it just feeds me. It's like, oh, you're not a psychopath. You're just having a really incredibly intense awakening experience, and you're receiving your gift for the world. And so so I just started I'm just considering reality with the understanding that I have about the energy and about the matrix and all this stuff, just considering everything and just everything and everything and everything. And so anyway, so I have this experience where I'm in the woods and I have this tree, and me and this tree are pretty good friends at this point. It's a big giant tree. Who knows how old it is, but just I'm drawn to that tree. I've been drawn to that tree every time I've ever seen it. And now that I'm inclined to not discount my inclinations, I literally kind of went and introduced myself to this tree a couple of months ago. And I kind of reintroduced because it seems like we know each other because we've always been here. And it's just, anyway, but it's weird because it's on such a deep, like as silly as that seems, like it's so incredibly deep and real. Like, and so like I was out there and I'm just in this space. I just had this experience and like, so like I just wanted to go hug my friend. And so I just went up and the tree's all wet and it's got moss and stuff on it. So I just like hug it and like put my forehead on it. I just sit there and just breathe in real slow through my nose and out through my mouth. I just did that a bunch of times. And then I was done until I felt like, okay, I've had enough of this. I'm gonna move on now. And so when that point came, it was just okay. So I get up and I start walking away, and like I just feel better. I just feel something, and I mean, and I've heard it said that because of the conductivity, that hugging trees actually absorbs negative energy out of your body, and I felt it. I really, really felt it. I've become really pretty sensitive to the energy transfers and all that kind of stuff like that. Like I felt it. I felt that there was a renewed lightness. And then that turns into me just kind of walking around, and I found this mushroom and I pinched it too hard and it kind of fell over, and then like I apologized to it and I said thank you to it. And then like when I said thank you to it, my brain says, why are you thanking a mushroom? And then I had this weird thing, like I understand what split personalities are. Like split personalities are a battle between your logical mind and your intuition. But a lot of us our intuition is so stifled that it's not very loud. But so anyway, so like my intuition tells me to say sorry to that mushroom and then to say thank you. And then my logical brain says, why are you thanking that mushroom? You didn't do anything. It's not like you're not eating it. You're like, why are you thanking a mushroom? And then my intuition says, you fool, that mushroom is connected to the whole world. It's part of this underground mycelial network that is the brains and the electrical everything that conducts this whole machine. So no, it might not be a psychedelic mushroom or a turkey tail or all these medicinal you have no idea what it is, but it's still part of it. It's still in that system. It's so, and just this, basically, there was an argument between my logical brain and this intuition, and the end of it was me realizing that what's holding me back is that I've lived in my logical brain for so long that I'm stuck there, that I live in a constant battle between this crazy shit that my intuition's telling me to do and my brain saying, you can't fucking do that, Lee. And my intuition's strong. So I always end up following my intuition, but the war's always there. The logical brain is saying, Lee, you can't say that kind of shit. You can't do that. You can't make this video. Like you can't do that. And so when I experienced this weird dialogue between my intuition and my logical conscious worldview brain, it occurred to me that guy's out of place. Like I realized that my logical brain is out of place, that this is not a world of logic, and so we'll get into that in a second. But so anyway, so just realizing that it's like, no, like you need to learn how to trust your intuition and use your logical brain to support that, because your intuition's always fucking right every time it's right, especially now. And your logic is wrong all the time. You always misinterpret things. You always get all weirded out about stuff and think too much and assume the worst and this, that. Like this guy is not, he's not playing his role, and that's why he's screwing shit up. And so I began to have a conversation with myself, and I began talking to my logical brain and said, listen, dude, like I'm right. Like that's what's going on here. Like you need to get in your lane. You need to calm the fuck down and understand your role. Like this isn't your show. You have a role to play. You're just like those little mushrooms over there. This isn't your show, but you have a role to play. I appreciate you. Like I had this whole conversation with myself, with my intuition. So whatever you want. So just I have this conversation with me and these two other guys. And it was magic. It was just like, and I came out of that just with this renewed kind of sense of whatever, just feeling really good about that whole interaction. So I come home and I get in the shower, and I'm in the shower, I'm thinking about things, and then so just thinking about the idea that I just had a conversation in some weird way with myself and then my other self. Like there's like my two selves, and then there's almost a distinction even with me. Like my intuition wasn't even me. Like because I was watching those two go back and forth. It was the weirdest thing. And so I'm just puzzling over that in the shower. And so ironically enough, in my feed, there's this anime show, and I believe it's called Avatar. I've never seen it. But this clip pops up, and it's a clip in the show, and it's the little kid, which I assume is the main character, and he's like with this yogi dude, this guru guy, and he's talking to him about his avatar and how he can control his avatar, and then the guru kind of explains to him, he's like, well, in order to control your avatar, and then he explains to him about opening like that you have to master yourself in order to master the avatar or whatever, or something. And then so anyway, so the yogi explains to the boy how to open up the 7 chakras, and this whole and it was just it was just one of those things where I saw that I was like, oh wow, like they're saying things here, because like I get what's going on, because I saw the connection between my experience and what they call chakra opening, which is probably what my experience was. Just these releases, these massive releases of trauma and my fear of judgment and my judgment of others, and just these massive releases of things have just kind of every time I have one of these dreadful emotional breakdowns, I come out of it like, oh, like I remember the first time that one happened where I was just, oh, and then when it was done, it's like every time I'm done, it's just like, oh, okay. And then it's literally and now and seeing that little clip about that cartoon, like I understood, like all of a sudden I had a very tangible visualization of what's happening, and I was like, oh wow, that's really cool. So then anyway, so go back to, I'm in the shower contemplating this 3-way conversation I just had with myself, and then just the question of all questions, well, who am I? Like, who am I? Like, who am I? And then I began considering the implications of that. Well, who am I? Like, who am I? Because like we want to think we're this body. We want to think that we're this, that, and the other. But you look at a baby, when they come into this world, they're flabbergasted. They're like, what the fuck is this? And then they fumble around until they learn how to use this. And then it hits me like, you're an avatar. We're all avatars. We have these little, and the reason that I say that with so much certainty is because I've had out-of-body experiences. I've looked at this body from outside of this body. I've fucking done it. I've done it more than once. Like, it happens. And the psychedelic experience, once you get to a certain level, you fucking disappear into the middle of the universe. And so the reality is that, and that's you. You're gone. Your body's not here. Your life's not here. Nothing's here. Nothing's there. You're just something else. Like, you forget about your life in that place. And the reason for that is to show you, a lot of people freak out because they can't handle it. But what the mushrooms are showing you is that this isn't it. You don't understand what's going on. And so anyway, my logical process, I'm thinking through this here, and I'm processing through this whole thing, and then it's just like, so basically my logical, this is where my logical brain was doing its job, because I put him in check. And he said, my thoughts were that if me, because that's definitely me, because that's me. Like, when I'm in that situation, that's me. When I was looking down at that body, I was me outside of the body. And so the fact that whatever I am can leave the body and come back into the body, and so just the idea, and just I guess just the absolute certainty that just just within the context of all of that thinking, and just the whole, since the experience happened up to that point in the shower there, just this grand realization of what's going on. And so I guess, I mean, I'll just share my experience and my opinion of what's going on based on these things that I have received. And so pretty well, I mean, where I'm at is that, like, I don't even know how to start it. I don't even know how to say it. We're avatars. Whatever we are, whatever you are, is the wisp of something that's in there. Like, through meditation, that's what's useful about. That's why the psychedelics are important. That's why the meditation is important, because they're tangible experiences that you can have that show you the separation between whatever you are in this body. But at the same time, it's not you, but it's yours. And then when you can understand that, that's when things. For me, that's huge. Like, this body being mine is very different than this body being me, because I am very whimsical and I have a tendency to disregard good things. Like, I've disciplined myself lately in the past years or so, just kind of learning, just kind of seeing that. But anyway, like, my tendencies are kind of the opposite. But so I think maybe just trying to keep this as simple as possible. Like we are the whole world. The whole world's made out of magic. Like we, these bodies, and whatever's going on, whoever God is, and whatever God is, and just brass tacks. Who gives a shit why? Because that's a useless question to ask. Because nobody gets the same answer. That's why we have the way the world is. Because so we live in some weird cosmic cycle. I don't understand it all. Surely there are more people that do, but like all this stuff with the astrological signs, and like there's this connection, and then there's levels of consciousness, or like it's hard. It makes sense in my brain, but getting it out is not real easy. Like we just witnessed the eclipse last Monday. Or was it this Monday? It was this Monday. Time's weird for me now. So that eclipse was the end of a cycle. Like that happens in, like the things happen cyclically, and just everything in nature happens cyclically. And what I've been told, what I've received, is that this game is a very long game. It's not just your game. You are in the game, and so essentially, the game. There's some that say that the game starts every 24,000 years or so, and we're now discovering a lot of evidence of what they're calling great resets, where there's cities buried underneath of cities, and all this stuff, and the pyramids, and all this stuff that they destroyed, and all this history they're hiding from us. Like this game moves in cycles, and with every move to the next level of consciousness, the old one is done away with, and then that new one is built into fruition until the time comes for the next level. And so essentially what I've received is that this last series, what we're experiencing in the world right now, is the end of this consciousness level. That this is the level of logic, and this is what logic. What has happened here is logical. It's logical if you. And the thing is, like, you don't think, oh, from a humanitarian, so it's not logical. It's not logical to do this. It's logic. You have to be able to detach yourself from your own judgments and see it just for simply what it is. So imagine you're just diddly bopping around in the world, and then you stumble upon magical powers that can get you anything that you haven't wanted. Yeah, you could say that, oh, I would do this. And then there are some people that would. And I'm pretty sure the people that do stumble upon that are the ones that get killed. They're the ones that say this kind of shit and they fucking die. Because the other ones that realized how it works have built the Matrix. They realize that there's magical powers here, and this is the fulfillment of that. When they're writing books about it, like read all the shit that Carnegie was writing, and all these guys were writing about about manifestation and this, that, and the other. Like, they told you how they were doing it. They told you they told you what they were doing. They told you how you were doing it. And so they built this world, and this world was a very logical world. The people that stumbled upon these powers, some of them were willing to kill and do very terrible things. When they realized that they could build whatever they wanted, they did. And when they realized that there's no God, there's nobody out here stopping anybody from doing anything, and all the shit they built, they've given us all of our gods. They've given us all of our ideas. There's not a goddamn thing that any of us have thought for centuries that hasn't been handed to us from the generation before us. But then you see there's these points in history where things get real weird. Well, let's wonder why history disappears. Wonder why there's gaps in history. But that's I suppose I digress with that. So the world we live in is the fullness of the logical plane of consciousness. And that's why Source is telling me that no, your logical brain is not in its right place. It's not supposed to rule, because the world that we live in is the rule, because all we do with your logical brain is you criticize and you judge and you compare. And that's what's happened in the world. Everything that's wrong with the world can be boiled down to criticism, judgment, and comparison. And just a need to be right or the need to be better or whatever. Just those all come into there, because that's the only reason you criticize, is because there's a balance. And so we've come to the end of that consciousness cycle, and that's why there are so many people that can't play the game anymore, that can't just keep going along with this bullshit, and everyone's all mad, like, oh, these people don't want to work. And I saw something today. It's like, it's not that they don't want to work. They realize that something's wrong, that they're being exploited, that this isn't right. Like, the younger people, they have a different consciousness. They were born into a different vibration, and so they don't understand it, but they feel it. And this is an intuitive vibration, so they're just like, I don't understand what's going on, but I don't want to fucking do that. And I've been like that my whole life. But so anyway, I think that's where we're entering into this new vibration. I don't know what it is. There's a lot of people saying a lot of stuff, and who knows? I am far more interested in just letting it unfold and see what's going on than to have some expectation that's never going to be fulfilled, because they never are. So it's kind of dumb. But because there's a lot of people out there saying, well, this is exactly what's going to happen, and this is exactly what's going to happen. It's like, I mean, that's cool. I mean, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I don't care. But I'm quite enjoying the ride. But so I guess like what it boils down to is, like, I've been shown that what this game is a system that you're born into it, and it is wonderful, because it all I spent a decade obsessed with Christianity and the Bible, and I dug deep into it, and it's very interesting is that I see all the similarities between what Yeshua was teaching and the things that I've received and experienced, and it also it seems to be part of the game that when somebody comes along speaking true things, like Jesus and Gandhi and probably Muhammad and some other ones too, like, what they do is they kill them, and then they make religions around them to delegitimize them in a spiritual manner. Because look where we're in today. Like the person we call Jesus is a mockery, but if you filtered away the Christian experience and the English translation of the Bible, you've got this dude who's explaining how to have this experience that I've had, because he had the same experience and other people have had the same experience. And there's levels. It's a game. It's a slow progress forward. That's why he didn't get into. That's why he didn't do anything until he didn't go out and start what he was doing until he was in his 30s or whatever. It's always later in life. Like it's a building. Like you don't just become enlightened and then you run. That's what religion tells you. It's like, oh, you're saved. Now go out and save others. You don't know what you're talking about. That's neither here nor there. So anyway. So we have all these concepts like being born again. Like unless you be born again, you cannot inherit the kingdom of heaven. And the the reality of that is that what being born again means, because it says like we read that you're born into sin. You're born into sin and you need salvation and this, that, and the other. And we've been given a particular coding on that narrative from our fine folks in the Catholic Church and the rest of Christianity, about forgiveness and heaven and hell and this, that, and the other. But the reality is that what he was saying when he says that you were born into sin and you need repentance and unless you be born again, you can by no means inherit the kingdom of heaven. We're born into sin. That's the matrix. We're born into this game. And the way the game works is you're born into it and you are subject to the game for about 25 years. And psychologists know this. Everybody knows this, and that's how they manipulate us, and that's how they control us, is because they know this. Because they know that from the time that you're born to the time that you're 7 years old, your brain is in a theta state. Your brain is pudding. You are simply experiencing reality, and every emotional experience that you have creates a filter of perception, and it develops your foundation of reality. So whatever hardships, whatever emotions you experience for the first 7 years of your life lay the foundation of your life. And then who you are going to be going forward as a human being. And then your character develops from that point. From 7 to 25, your character develops. And then at about 25, you're in that beta state. And then when you're about 25, you go into the alpha state. And that's when you become who you are. And that's why everybody loses hope in life in their mid to late 20s or so, or maybe their early 30s or whatever, is because you're growing up to that point and then you stop growing. And then once you stop growing, there's nothing else to do. So you're just in this game and you're just going through the motion. That's why everybody's miserable. That's why everybody drinks and smokes. And that's why they give us all this shit to keep us occupied, so that we don't have thoughts like these. But the point of the game, the point of the game is the whole concept of being reborn is that you're born into the game and you are subject to the game relatively for the first 25 years. And then after 25 years, after the game is done with you, now it's your turn to play the game. And what most of us, and what the machine is designed to do is to keep you occupied and to keep you traumatized and distracted, so that you're so busy dealing with your inner turmoil that you can't think of anything else. You're just trying to survive and make sense of the hardships that is reality. And that's what the Matrix is designed for. And the whole point of the game is overcoming. The whole purpose of the game is perseverance, to overcome. In the Bible it says, there's one of the prophetic things in Ezekiel or something, the wheel in the sky. That wheel in the sky, and it says it's moved by the spirits. That's the pendulum that I received. This understanding of a pendulum that's moved by spirits. The wheel in the sky is moved by spirits. And then I believe it's beryl. It's the color of beryl. The color of beryl is the color of the stone that's inside the wheel or whatever, or maybe there's beryl stones on it. And so I looked it up. Just what's the spiritual implication of beryl? Beryl is the stone of overcoming. And it's like, well, there you go. Like that's what came. Like, I received that this was a game of overcoming, and then when I followed my spidey sense, that's what I came to. And the whole point is overcoming the game. This is the game. This game is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Everything is happening exactly the way it's designed to happen. The point is that by the time you reach the point where you go into alpha state and you realize this isn't right, nothing makes sense. And then you have to find out, you have to break free of the need to be whatever. And you have to find a way to get back inside of yourself and sort these things out. You have to go find those theta waves again so that you can reinvigorate your imagination, and you have to have the courage to sit with your hardships and to sit with your sadness and to process your emotions and to basically deal with all of the grief of your old life. And let it go. And in the process of doing that, you enter in, you receive the Spirit of God. When you go through those, when you intentionally embark on the mystery of figuring this game out, the game starts working in your favor. You've been subject to the game this whole point. You're conditioned to be subject to the game, and then most people continue living their life subject to the game. But the way the game works is that when you're 25, it's your fucking turn to play. And the thing is, we're avatars. These bodies, we don't know what they can do. We have so much shit hidden from us. Like, the point is to master this body. The point of the game is if you master this body and you understand that ignorance is bliss, you understand that where your focus is, that's where your energy is. And when you understand that we're part of this cosmic creation machine, that when you find your center and when you find your way to deal with all the shit that's holding you back, and you get to this place where you can open up and let go of your need to be in control and your need to judge and your need to be better, when you can get to there, and it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight. You have to start doing it. You just have to start doing it and it'll happen. You have to understand that it's a thing, and then you have to learn how to follow your gut, follow your spidey sense. And you're going to enter into a very hard time. Narrow is the way and difficult. Many are called, but few are chosen. It's because it's not physically hard. Anybody can turn into Arnold Schwarzenegger. But to sink down into the depth of your own abyss and sit there until you sort it out, that's fucking hard. And most people can't do that. But we can do that. Most people don't believe they can do that. The only thing is just don't stop. You just don't ever stop. You just continue moving forward. Don't ever allow yourself to fall into repetitive cycles of negativity. There's no telling what we can do. I don't know where this goes. I don't know what happens from here, but I just know that since this reality has come to me, like I'm invigorated. So here's what I did this morning. I woke up. My wife was up. I like to be isolated. Like I like to be around people sometimes, but I feel when I'm around other people, I feel a lot of energy, and I have to deal with that. When I'm by myself, it's just me, and I like that a lot. So I waited till she went to work, and then I just did my stretch. I just had a little stretch routine that I did, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna go running today. So I went down, I stretched out, I went down to Felston's and went and ran. And then when I was done running, I came back and the sun was shining up a little bit. I was like, I think I'm going to just kind of hang out in the sun for a little bit. So I stare at the sun. They tell us you're going to go blind. I've been staring at the sun for quite some time, and my vision has improved, and all kinds of stuff has gone on. So they're like, don't look at the sun. So anyway, so I stopped and I'm staring at the sun, and then just my inclination is to just be in the sun. So I take my shirt off and I'm just standing. I'm staring at the sun, just standing in the sun, just kind of soaking up some of the sun's rays. And then, so I decided, okay, well, like I'm in public. I mean, probably, because I felt inclined to be more exposed, and I was like, well, I don't want to do that in public, so let's go home. So anyway, so I come home, and I go out into the magical nature section of our property, and the sun's beaming through the trees. I just kind of find a patch that it's in, so I'm just kind of standing there, just staring at the sun and just breathing and just kind of whatever. And then I don't know, just I was just sitting there breathing, and then so I was sitting there, I was just standing, and then so I took a deep breath, and then I just clenched my whole body as tight as I possibly could until like it felt like my face was gonna pop, and then I let go, and then I breathed out, and I did that 3 times, and at the end of those 3 times, when that thing faded away, it just like, and then I saw something like a little light turned on, and it started spiraling really, really slowly, and I just kind of sat there and watched it for a little while. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then I watched it, and I just watched it, and then it didn't do anything, and I got bored. So okay, well, so I was like, okay, then here's what I'll do. I'll just do my workout. So I get down, and I start doing push-ups. And so I just start doing push-ups, and I just do as many as I can. I'm just pushing, just my eyes closed, and I'm just pushing as hard as I absolutely can. And when I finally got to my last one, I just went up in, for whatever reason, I just went up into a downward dog, which is a yoga position, and then just kind of stay there until kind of the intensity of all the chemicals and everything from the workout until I'm kind of calmed down. And then after that, I do these squat things where I squat all the way down, pretty much with my butt on the ground. And so then I did my squat things until my legs were ready to fall off, and then I just squatted down, and then just kind of sat there and just kind of, I don't know, it was just an incredibly enjoyable, magical, invigorating experience that was just me being alive, just being a human being, exploring my own body in reality. And I think the reality is that ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is bliss. This old world is dying. They want us to, they're trying to get our attention. That's why all this shit's going on. That's why it's a fucking circus, is because they're pleading for our attention, because they fucking know the only way they exist is if we're paying attention to them. That's why it's a fucking circus. Stop paying attention and it goes away. That's the fucking magic that we're living in. What you focus on becomes reality. What you imagine, you can create. There are zero limits. You limit yourself by the bullshit that you choose to believe in and hold yourself back with. There are no limits. They're limiting us. The game, but it's not, don't be mad at them. It's just a game. That's the game. That's the beautiful thing, is if you can realize that it's a game, that this is some training, or who knows what it is. I don't know, but it is what it is. It's a fucking game. You're a little wisp of energy that's controlling this little machine here. And what you focus on turns into magic. It becomes what you think about. That's why they give us ideas. That's why the songs are all the same. That's why the movies are all the same. That they know how to program us. Program your fucking self. That's the goal. That's what being reborn is realizing that you've been programmed, going in, dealing with the programming, and deciding your own program and building up from there. And then you start playing the game. So before the game's playing you, now you're playing the game. And that's the whole point of the game. And in my imagination, the point of the game is that we're in the last fucking level right now. That's the way the game works. We are in the last level. When I don't know if it was that eclipse. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I don't pretend to know anything. I'm not trying to go find some guru to listen to. I'm only giving you what I've received personally from the universe. I don't know exactly what's going on, but I have a strong inclination that we're at the end of the cycle. That I have this picture that we are either on the verge of what I don't believe when Yeshua said he was coming back, the whole concept of a second coming wasn't that he's coming back. He didn't say, religion wants God to be way over there. Religion wants God to be out of reach. Religion wants Jesus to be out of reach. Religion wants everything's out of reach, because if it's out of reach, then you have to go through some sort of rite to get to it. But the reality is that the devil lives inside of you. God lives inside of you. All of this stuff lives inside of you. And we're here. And the only thing that we can do is take control of ourselves. And if you take control of yourselves, the game loses its power. That's why it tries so hard to keep you in, because when you get out of the matrix loses its power, and then you can go back into it and start affecting the matrix and bringing people out. Because you don't change the matrix stays. You bring people out, but you can't force them out. All you can do is live. All you can do is get to know this machine and find your vibration, find your energy, find what excites you, find what's interesting to you, and just fucking do that. Play the game. We're in this bullshit game right now. You gotta go to work and this, that, and the other. We're gonna starve. Start learning skills and shit. Like, start learning things to break away from the matrix, but just accept the game for what it is. Go play that game, because it's bullshit. Just go play it or unless you got a better idea. Because I'm working my way out of it. I mean, I've got my plan. I mean, anyway. I think that's all it boils down to, is that we're in the midst of a great transformation and a great change. And like I said in the last one, it's all about finding who you are. It's about clearing out all the baggage of the programming and being born again, choosing who you are going to be based on your interests, based on your draws, based on your connections, based on all that stuff. And that's all there is to it. I wrote something yesterday at work. I put that here. I'll be right back. I've always struggled with really letting my creativity open up. I always have. My brain, I'm judging everything, always judging everything. But spirit, source, experience, whatever it was, it told me that once I told my story, once that because you got to follow what's there. What is yours is going to, that's another thing. What is yours is going to appear in front of you. You can choose to leave it alone and move past it, but who knows? Who knows what it is? I don't know what fate is. I don't know what destiny is, but I know that we're all on an energetic frequency, and there are other things on that frequency. And the only thing that you can do is find what's on your frequency and make it best. Do the best thing that you can with it, without being an asshole. But anyway, so anyway, I received that once I get this out, because this is what kept coming to me. Whenever I would go for inspiration, telling my story was the only thing that was there. And I received it. Once I told my story, other things would come. And so I wrote something the other day. Actually, I wrote Saturday. I wrote it yesterday at work. The first line came to me Thursday when I was leaving work, but I ignored it. But then it came back to me when I was driving to work yesterday morning. And it's, I'm probably going to butcher it, but it's kind of like a spoken word poem type of thing, I guess. That's what it feels like to me. Some of you have seen some of my rap work in the old days. I'm not going to get to whatever. I might put music to it at some point, I don't know. But you may think that I'm crazy, and the truth is that I may be. But lately I've been thinking about the way we daydream about the future. We wear the past as a suture. Old wounds never healed tend to steal from the present. They dampen our resonance. We live life in decadence, ignoring the evidence of divine benevolence. We wrestle with and against being present with all the shit that's inside. So we hide from ourselves, put our pain on a shelf, and pretend that the pleasure is the fullness of self. Divided we fall as a law of the universe. There is a cavern inside that you need to traverse. The way to the light is through the darkness. Immerse yourself in the pain on the shelf. Feelings need to be felt and the past to be dealt with. To break the curse of hopelessness in a world that couldn't care less. The devil is real, but he's not what you think. He's the result of your darkness that's been pushed to the brink. All the pain that's inside that you hide from yourself is the cause and creator of this life you call hell. If you sit with your demons, they'll lead you to freedom. You'll soon rise above and you'll fly like a dove. No one told me that all the devil ever wanted was to be loved. All I ever wanted was to be loved. This game is ours. We just gotta play it. Take care of what's yours. They're pulling your attention. They're distracting you. They're eating you up. Don't let them do it. Just stop. Don't be mad at them. Fuck them. Don't let them do it. Follow your energy. Find it. Heal yourself. Find your path. There aren't any rules. There's no rules. Rules are don't be an asshole. That's the fucking rule. Go find yourself. Be yourself. Express yourself. Love yourself and love everybody else. We got this.